Deep inhale, exhale. Inhale. Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopakarottam Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Slowly up your palms, keep on the face. Deep inhale, exhale, bring the palms down. Let your palms. So, good evening, everyone. So let's get started. Right, so let's get started. Okay, so last couple of weeks we started, what did we start? The, hold on, let me get this paper. Yeah, so last couple of weeks, we started the chapter 2 of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So Patanjali Yoga Sutra is not written by or is not invented by Patanjali. So Patanjali is the compiler. So this has been there. So this has been there for a long time, and Patanjali has put that in Sanskrit. Why Sanskrit? Because Sanskrit is a language where you can put a bigger meaning with less number of words. Maybe one word can give a huge meaning. So then in chapter 1, we talked about the concepts, kind of like the science behind everything. But chapter 2, we are actually talking about the ground level, right? So basically, we are trying to understand why things are happening, what is the root cause for that, what is the root cause for the root cause. Likewise, we are going to do a root cause analysis, right? And then we will basically try to understand how to overcome, what are the techniques, right? So that is our mission, right? So out of what we talked about, so we talked about basically tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhani. So all these concepts we talk about. Then we talked about what is avidya, what is the reason for avidya, and then yeah, the connection is very low, very poor today. So you had to bear with me a little bit, right? So we talked about avidya. So don't worry, I haven't shared anything. So what is avidya? Not having the right spiritual knowledge, not putting yourself to do the practices, right? So all these kind of things we talked about last week, right? Then we talked about what is the root cause for unhappiness, what is the root cause for unpleasantness. Unpleasantness leads to sorrow, right? So yoga, why we are doing all this is basically to get rid of these things, right? So that's why I ask you today in the group, try to figure out what is the goal of your life, right? What is the ultimate goal of your life, right? So I've seen a couple of answers. I just browse through, right? Yeah, so to do my dharma through yoga, mentally and physically fit for life, get detached from impermanent things. So all these things are there, right? So why, then you need to ask the question, why you want to do that? There has to be a reason why you have to do that, right? Then you need to keep on asking why should I do that? Why do I need to get out from things that drags me into sorrow? Why should I do that? Then finally the answer is, how should I do that? Right? So what is the way to go for it? So then you basically need to go with the spiritual texts, right? So that's what we are trying to do. But keep this goal written in a paper. After some time, you will refine it. You will refine, change, and then you will actually come to a concrete line with a couple of words saying, this is what I want to do with my life, right? Good. So let us go from where we stopped, right? So we talked about dukkha and all these things, and right, okay. So 22nd. So 22nd sutra, that's fine. Yeah. So in 24th sutra, what it basically tells is tasya hetuhu avidya. All what we talked till 24th sutra in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we talked about sorrow, we talked about unhappiness, we talked about hatred, we talked about why people are behaving like in different ways, right? All these things we talked about, but what is the reason for all of it? Basically, avidya, right? Lack of spiritual knowledge is the cause of the false identification of the seer with the seen. So what is the seer and the seen? So seer is, there is a person, there is a self inside you, right? So there is a self inside myself. Wow, power came up. Just give me a second. Let me... Yeah. Okay, so what we talked is, so basically, any suffering, right? Reason is avidya. So what is the seen and the seer? So we think that I am a self. So I call myself, okay, I am Amal. I am so and so in this so and so place. I am the son of this one, and this is my mother, this is my father, and this is my children, this is my house, this is my car, this is my country, this is what I eat. I don't eat that brand, I eat only this brand, I wear only this shirt brand, and I don't wear that other brand. I am a man, she is a woman. So likewise, so because of this I factor, we have a big identification for ourselves. So we think we are a separate entity. So if I take myself and any of you here, so we both identify ourselves as two different people, right? So in identifying two different people, you will see certain differences. I am better in this area than you. You are more richer than me. So likewise, so you have all this identification, right? So this identification is like a, how can I say it? So it's like a body of a car, right? Body of a car. So different cars are having different outer appearances. But at the end of the day, you need electricity to drive a car. You call it a gasoline car, or you call it a Tesla or whatever, you need electricity to run a car. So likewise, so we also as a form, we have some kind of something like a electricity inside us. That's normal between, or that's equivalent between you and me and every living as well as non-living thing in this world. But we have identified ourselves as something because due to avidya, we are going through all this suffering to maintain that identification of ourselves, right? So basically, we are doing so many things in this world to maintain our identification, right? I want to be like this. I have my dreams like this. I want to be this. That's it, right? So some people want to change their skin color. I am not happy with my face. I change my nose. I change my color. I change my hair, right? So how many things that you do, why should you do? Because inside there is a self that you don't see. At the end of the day, all of us have the capacity to study the Dharma, practice Dharma, do yoga, right? And do good deeds, right? That energy is there with us. On the same time, we also do have an energy to kill somebody, to hurt somebody, to say things at somebody, right? So that negative energy is also there, right? So it's up to, that's why it's up to you to understand what's the goal of this term of your life. We all have just got a term of life, right? A tortoise even lives more than 400 years. We live only 60 to 70 years, right? So in these 60 to 70 years, we are supposed to come to a particular place in our life, right? So that you can define whether I want to go in this way, that way, or the other way, right? So spiritual knowledge, spiritual understanding is one thing, to go inside and find this electricity inside you. Then you understand there is an electricity here, there is an electricity between you. So basically, if you can connect this electricity between each and every one, so then the nature and you yourself are not two different things then, right? So if I can basically think, let's say Bharata is also Amal, right? So if I can think of you also as me, so basically there is only a life form, but the difference comes because Bharata will say, no, I am this, that, and the other. So this is my biography, or this is my CV, and this is Amal's CV. See, these are different, right? So if there is no such a thing, we are all the same, right? We are all part of this whole universe, right? So why we are not calling ourselves as part of the universe is because we have these banners, identities to maintain, our egos to maintain, the family status to maintain, organizational status to maintain, and all this kind of thing, right? So our job is to basically, through yoga, Patanjali trying to explain how to basically reach to Samadhi. You know what Samadhi is? Samadhi is basically going inside and try to contemplate on yourself on like nothing, right? On nothing. So everybody have that capacity to do, but why you can't do it? Because of these external factors, avidya, or things that you are tangled with, keep on disturbing you, right? When you want to wear a shirt, the next question comes is, okay, what sort of a function is this? Oh, to that function, this shirt is not good. T-shirts are not allowed, right? Collarless shirts are not allowed. Slippers are not allowed. So you have all these kind of things, right? So that's where actually we became distracted, right? Okay, enough talking. Let's go to the next one, right? So 25th Sutra, what it says is, Tad abhavat samyoga bhavaha tadresha kaivalyam. So the destruction of this ignorance through right knowledge breaks the link binding the seer to seen. This is kaivalyam. So imagine a state where we all think, okay, so imagine a state where you don't have an identity, right? Starting from the job. So let's drop the job part of it, right? So one would say, I am an IT analyst, I am a accountant, I am an engineer. So let's leave that part aside. I am nobody, right? And now we as individuals, then we have our family origin. So I am from this caste, this area of the country, this person's, this one's, so and so's daughters, this one's son. So let's leave that also aside. Now, job is, no, we don't have any social status. Family also, let's say we don't have that as well, right? And all whatever the preferences that you have. I like vegetarian food. I like non-vegetarian food. I like Indian cuisine. I like Malaysian cuisine. I like Chinese cuisine. So that part also, let's leave it out, right? So likewise, layers by layers, and your preferences, what you like. If we leave out all these things, what happens? So basically, it's like you take an onion, you peel off the layers of the onion, right? You take all the layers of the onion. What are you left with? Nothing, right? It's just a space, right? So if you take an onion, there's nothing inside an onion, right? Is there anything inside an onion? Nobody noticed that so far, is it? Right? So today go take an onion and peel it off one by one, right? So even if you take a potato, we define, okay, the outer layer we don't eat, but inside thing we eat. Let's say somebody come and say, no, outer layer we remove. Inside also, that is not good. That also we remove. You remove. What are you left with? Nothing. Even if you take a mango, first you peel the mango. Then somebody come and say, no, this inside flesh also you don't eat. That also you remove. Then the seed is there. Seed also you cut. That also you cut into pieces with. Then what are you left with? Nothing. So then basically what happens is, for a mango to be called as a mango, it has to have a seed, it has to have the flesh, it has to have the skin, it has to have the color, it has to have the shape, it has to come from a particular tree, and based on the part of the country where the mango is coming, you have the Jaffna mango, you have this mango, we have the Malaysian mango, the TJC mango, all these different types of mangoes are coming. But if you actually take all these identities away, nothing called a mango. Part of the whole nature. Everything is made out of 5 elements. So we are also, imagine myself, don't imagine yourself, right? We should not hurt yourself. No. So first of all, you take the hair out, right? Imagine I'm there, you take the hair out. Then you take the skin out. You just take it and just bring it out, right? And then what are you left with is a whitish color to red color, because still I'm alive, blood is there. Then you take a high pressure gun and then you remove all the blood as well, right? Then the muscles as well, the bones as well. What are you left with? Can you then touch the person inside this whole body? You can't, right? So it's just 5 elements only, right? Only 5 elements will be there. You can just remove the 5 elements, but who is the self here? You can't find. So the self is basically everywhere, but we are basically stuck into one thing because of these identities, right? So with the spiritual knowledge, you basically take all your academic knowledge out, take all your arrogant attitudes out, take all your egos out. Then you become calmer and calm, right? So then actually you can meditate into a point. That's where we said in first chapter, in the cognitive. So without an object, you can stay in one place. How can you keep your mind in one place without focusing on anything, right? Because if you really see the shunyata, we call it, the nothingness in something, right? When you see that, actually, you know, okay, there's nothing for me to be even focused about, right? At that point, the waves of the mind is also not there. And then that is what you call as kaivalya. Now it's a big concept, right? Now don't get scared. It's just a start of, defining things. So don't get scared. It's fine. Then actually we are starting some good things today, right? The ceaseless flow of discriminative knowledge in thought, word, and deed destroys ignorance, the source of pain. The ceaseless flow of discriminative knowledge in thought, word, and deed, right? So if you have the spiritual knowledge, then, when a thought comes to your mind, should I really worry about it or not? Right? Can I do something about it or not? What does this doing to myself? Right? This only brings me sorrow. And I said something to somebody, next moment you feel bad about it. You did something to somebody, next moment you feel bad about it. Right? So this is the source of pain. Right? This is the source of pain. Right? Then Patanjali says, through this unbroken flow of discriminative awareness, one gains perfect knowledge, which has 7 spheres. Right? Now, this is important. Tasya saptada pranta bhumihi prajna. Prajna is the wisdom. Right? So, if you get spiritual knowledge, if you study spiritual knowledge, what happens is you can come to actually like 7 kind of awareness. Now, the 7 kind of awareness, I'm going to explain it to you, right? And I didn't want to put it into a slide, but no need to memorize or anything, right? So today, actually, I'm going to tell you to memorize the first sutra in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So that actually starts today. Till so far, whatever you have learned, the sutras, you don't need to memorize. No need to remember any of these things, right? So what are these 7? So 7 states of wisdom, right? With discriminative awareness, they are saying you gain perfect knowledge, which has 7 spheres, right? So number 1, 7 states of wisdom, they say, Patanjali says, knowing that which has to be known. Knowing that which has to be known. You need to know what you are supposed to know. Like what? What are you made out of? That is something you need to know. Because if you think you are made out of a beautiful gold color, some cream layer or something, that is avidya. That's where you go to different places to change the skin color and all this kind of. You take this hair out and you put something on it like a vehicle, and then you decorate with whole kind of things, and then you go to what do you call, a wedding, and then what you forget is, oh, I'm supposed to cry in this wedding, right? And when you cry in the wedding, whole makeup and everything comes through the eyes, and then you become like Dracula. Right? Then the next problem is now how to avoid that. Now you go after washrooms, and then you make a resolution to yourself. Okay, next time let's do the makeup waterproof. Right? Let's go to a better salon this next time. Right? So that happens. Then for that you need to do a better job, right? Because you need so much of money these days. Things are very expensive, right? Okay. So if you thought that your skin will glow forever, that your skin is you, skin represents you, so then sorry.com, basically you are tangled with avidya, right? So you don't know what you are supposed to know. So what are you supposed to know is the skin is temporary. Every single moment, the skin cells, some of the cells are dying, some of the cells are being born. Right? Throughout the whole body, right? This is fully impermanent. Nothing is permanent. That's why, example, we have to cut our hair, we have to trim the beard, all this kind of thing. At least, can you stay without taking a bath for 2 days? No, you yourself start to smell that, your dead body is, dead body is getting preeminence, right? All the dead cells in the outer skin are starting to make smells, right? So that is how it is. So this knowledge you should know. That's what Patanjali said. You should know what you're supposed to know. So what are you supposed to know? The spiritual knowledge, right? Maybe not the beauty culture, but know that, spiritual knowledge. This is dying, right? And we've been doing this class for like, I don't know, 10, 12 weeks, and we canceled like 2 to 3 days. So let's say 15 weeks, right? So now we are 15 weeks old. We have exhausted 15 weeks of our life. right? How many things have happened through these 15 weeks? You have grown old. You have lost your, eyesight, because these days we are full time on the smartphone looking what is happening in the country and all, like full time smartphone. Because of that, our eyesight also have deteriorated. The hearing has impaired. Skin got wrinkled, right? And how many thoughts that we thought about for the last 15 weeks? How many problems that we took inside to our mind and worried about it and overthought about it and really beaten ourselves within the last 15 weeks? And what is the meaning or the result of that? All those worrying right now, what's the outcome? Not a single outcome, right? So that's why they say, Patanjali says, you are supposed to know what you are supposed to know, right? Number 2, discarding that which is to be discarded. Old love affair, thoughts coming to your head and haunting yourself, please discard it. Yesterday, somebody scolded you, discard it. You have a problem with a person that every time you see him, you get upset, right? Please discard it. So this is where I relate to last week or week before. Krish asked a question saying, so if we have done certain bad things in our life, now what can we do? First of all, discard it. Discard that memory, discard that thought flow. Stop worrying about it, right? We don't keep garbage inside our mouth, no. By the time we even eat, once we are done with eating, we wash our mouth. Because that soon we want to discard what need to be discarded, right? When we eat, we don't stay without going to the washroom, no. What happens if that happens, right? You feel uncomfortable, and then different problems will happen inside the stomach, all these kind of things. Same thing will happen to your mind as well. If we don't discard what to be discarded, then irrelevant, unnecessary problems will happen, right? So number 1, know what you are supposed to know. Number 2, discard what you are supposed to discard. Number 3, attaining that which has to be attained. If you want to attain a particular state in meditation, attain it, right? Find a guru. Keep practicing. Abhyasa, vairagya. Don't get attached to it, but keep on practicing. Just like a yoga asana, very simple example, right? If you want to do a particular yoga asana, now if you want to attain it, you have to attain it, right? So that is very important. For an example, how can you do yoga or meditation or even thinking if you can't stay in one position for 10 minutes, right? So what we need to achieve is, first of all, sit down in any way at least 5 minutes, right? So that is the discipline. So whatever you want to attain, you attain it. Even in your careers, even in your academic life, if you want to become a professor, you become a professor, right? Then you will feel like, yeah, that's not a big deal, right? As far as you don't achieve it, you will keep on dreaming about it, get scared and keep thinking about it, and mind will be working on it, but it will not be attained. So Patanjali says, hey, look here, if you want to attain something, you attain it. You put a plan, you commit yourself, work towards it and get it done, right? Third one, he's saying, doing that which has to be done. I'll give a very good example for this, right? So imagine, very good and a kind of bad example. I don't know, right? I don't know what is good and bad, right? Okay. So let's say you married when you were 20, 22, you married, right? Very young age. So you had your plans and you got a child. You had plans to have 3 children So you have 3 children by now, all healthy children, very obeying, nice, beautiful, all these children you have. Suddenly, when you are at the age of, so now you stopped thinking about children by the age of 26, let's say, right? So then you thought, okay, fine, now we are settled, we are a family of 5, so we are going like that. Suddenly, at the age of 36, you get another child. Now, what to do? You can keep blaming each other, right? That is one option. Or you can actually, really worry about it and, do something about it, right? So all sort of these things you can do. But what are you supposed to do is, okay, a child came now, look after the child, give the child the education. So that is what you call as actually karma yoga. Through karma yoga, what it says is do what you're supposed to do. Right now, let's take as an example, economic situation, right? So right now, if you have a vehicle at home, what should you do? Should you use the vehicle as much as possible? Should you, if you are going to a place alone by yourself, should you use the vehicle or what should you do? Right now, you have to save your money, right? Yeah, right now you have to cut down your costs. It's very simple as that, right? So then you need to look for opportunities. You need to do certain things right now, right? So do those, right? So there comes a place in your life that you are supposed to do certain things. Sometimes maybe you don't even see a outcome in the future of what you are supposed to do and what you are doing, right? But just keep going doing it. Just keep doing it, right? For another example, now let's say there are 2 people, right? This can happen to any of you. It can happen to myself, you, anybody. One of our loved one falling sick, right? So now what should you do? No, let's leave that part away. One of the colleagues in your office, the person who is sitting next to you, suddenly faint and fall on the floor. So what should you do right now? I have a deadline. This person doesn't belong to my team. My boss is a different boss. This one's boss is a different one. And we anyway don't like that boss. So let them take care of it. That is one option. Number 2 is immediately you give some water. Immediately you attend and just see what happened. Is the person dead? Right? So what are you supposed to do? So whatever has to be done, you should do it, right? So let's say your parents are giving you education and somehow you were able to go to the university. Now you are supposed to finish the university. Simple as that. Finish it, right? You have a vehicle and the tires have worn out. What are you supposed to do? You have to replace the tires, right? Simple as that. Otherwise, there's no other way it will survive. You can't fix feathers to it, it will not fly. So whatever you're supposed to do, you should do. That is the 4th one, what Patanjali is saying. 5th one, winning the goal that is to be won. Let's say all of you want to go for now actually this is there already, some annual yoga championship. There has to be an event, I think, yeah, just remembered, yeah. So there is a yoga championship, right? So you want to become the yoga champion in the entire country, right? So you think if I do this, I will feel good, right? And that is not something, even if you achieve, it's not a bad deed as well, right? So if you desire to win something, then you win it. Because when you win something only, you actually get that confidence that you can do something, right? Otherwise, if you are a loser every day, worrying about other people's winning and keep criticizing about their achievements, then you have never tasted the taste of winning, right? Even for your spiritual sadhana, yoga asana, for everything that applies. So if there's something to be won that you should be winning, then you should win it, right? So that is another fifth wisdom Patanjali is explaining. Sixth one, these are interesting ones. Freeing the intelligence from the pull of the three gunas of nature. Freeing the intelligence from the pull of the three gunas in nature. So, everything in this world is having three types of gunas now. Sattva guna, Rajo guna, Tamo guna. Tamas, like lethargic, Rajas, very active, Sattva, very balanced. Everything belongs to these three gunas. So, this you need to develop your wisdom to a level that these three types of gunas doesn't affect you anymore. You go beyond these gunas, right? Somebody come and give you a huge, very nice looking, very sweet, and a big bucket of food, right? So when you look at it, you get tempted. But if you eat it, you become lethargic. If you don't eat it, you starve and you feel bad about not eating it. Right? Now, some food came out of somewhere. Imagine the mental agony that we are going through. We all are going through. So then when there's some nice food, immediately, am I going to eat it or not? My stomach is full, but if I let it go, it's going to be a waste. So let's eat a little bit. Right? So that is basically that food, the quality which is embedded in that is influencing you. Right? So you should go beyond that. You should be able to say, if a beautiful girl comes, that's fine. You keep walking, I'll keep walking. Right? If some nice food come on your way, if you're not hungry, there's no need for food, no point eating it. Don't eat it. Right? Have your priorities, take everything under your control. At least yourself. If you take yourself under your control, nothing can affect you. Right? So don't let these three gunas also to come and give you a ride. Right? You basically take this electricity within you to the destination you want. Don't let the other distractions. Everything comes in your life basically are 90% are distractions. Right? So these distractions will either make you an active person, a lethargic person, or a balanced person. So these things can ruin your life as well. It can make you a drunkard, right? It can make you anything. So when you are walking, you should not let these things affect you. Then that is the sixth one. Seventh one, achieving emancipation of the soul so that it shines in its own light. Right? So that is basically Patanjali is saying. Seventh wisdom is you go and find your inner self and be a master in that. Then nothing external affects. No problem. Right? One of the nice examples is there are yogis in Himalayas. I've been telling this a couple of times, right? They are wearing like an underwear, right? That's all that we are wearing, right? And then they are meditating under snow, freezing cold, right? Even their these eyelashes are also, there's snow here. Face is covered with snow. But the beauty is they have no idea even, right? And the body temperature doesn't change because you are fully in the control of yourself. You are fully in the control of your mind. Mind is not controlling you. If the mind is controlling, when the first snowflake touches your body, it's like, oh, it's going to snow, let's get out. Wrong time of the year we came, nobody guided us. All these, whole thing will come up. But if you go there to meditate, right, it doesn't matter whether you are meditating on water, fire, snow, or whatever. Doesn't really matter. Right? There's a beautiful exercise that you can do, right? How many of y'all within the last 3 years have sat on a pavement wearing nice clothes in Colombo? No one. Oh, okay, good. So, okay, first of all, take a hike. Okay, this is not sarcastically, I'm telling you. You should take a hike that you can't do, right? Go on a hike. Then you will learn to sit down on the floor because you don't have energy to take the next foot. Because of that, you will sit down on the floor, right? So then you will actually feel, at any point of time in my life, if I feel like tired, there's always, I can sit down anywhere we are walking, right? Sometimes we walk from Vallavatta to some place. We keep on walking, thinking like that, we can't even take a break sitting down, right? But anytime you can sit down on the pavement. Have you thought about it? No? We should not sit down on the floor. It's not good for my character, right? I mean, look at my shoes that I'm wearing and the trouser, and look at my office ID and this particular laptop that I'm this thing, and I'm a yogi. What are you saying? I am a yogi. If you are a yogi, you should sit down on the floor, right? So try this. So next time when you go to Colombo, get out from the vehicle, sit down on the side of the pavement, and just stay there and watch how others are responding to you, and try to stay shameless, right? I actually do this, right? Sometimes you will see me even near this big Cargill's head office around building, wearing all the office suit and sitting down and having a chat with people, right, near the pavement. So you should do that. That's a great exercise that every one of you should do, right? So the problem is we have not even thought about it, right? If at all, if we want to, while we are walking somewhere, if at all, if we want to take a break, we are looking for either a McDonald's, or we are looking for at least a Pereira and Sons, or at least a small shop, a tea shop. You will want to go and sit down because, how can I sit down on the floor? I am so and so having 3 degrees and this and that and all, driving this, my job is this, my father is this, how can I sit on the floor, right? So first of all, actually, just do this exercise and share your experience in the group, right? I can actually ask you to sit down and take a selfie, right? That will not happen, then exercise will not happen, right? So otherwise, I mean, I'm giving you a margin to at least lie, okay? So just get that experience, right? So what we are saying is, so then again, why you can't do it? Because of the ego that you are trying to maintain. Why the ego is there? Because of the surrounding factors around you. What are the surrounding factors? Those are either Rajoguna, Tamoguna, or Sattva-guna. So we also have these 3 gunas, right? So we will say some person, oh, he is a very silent, a very cool person because he is having Sattva guna a little bit more than the other 2. Or otherwise, we will say another person, we point and say he's a very lazy person, always sleeping, never do anything at home. All these complaints are going because he's having a little bit more of Tamoguna, right? But others are also there. All 3 are there, right? At a particular point, one guna is taking prominence, right? Not that he don't have other gunas, right? All this. So Buddha, if you take, he also have all 3 gunas, right? So before he went out from his palace, he was not a sattva guna person. He was, but other gunas were also prominent. But when he went out from the palace, when he went after Buddhahood, basically he mastered the sattva guna and then he went even beyond sattva guna. No gunas can affect him anymore, right? So I am saying, even now for you to sit down on the floor, you don't have to go to that Aragalaya, right? Because there are people are sitting on the floor, so we have company, that then we can sit down. No, just go to your own town, just near your house, right? Can you sit down on the floor? You can't, right? Because I am coming from that house. That's my father. Normally I go by vehicle. I never pass this place without a vehicle. Right? How can I sit down, right? That is the ego, which is, keeping you, right? Ride a bicycle on the rain for a couple of kilometers. Feel how other people also feel. Feel how an animal is feeling. Feel how a cow is feeling. Cow doesn't have a shelter in the rain, right? Feel how a cow feels, right? Feel how a stray dog feels. We all are the one, right? But we think we are superior. So that particular layer, unless you take that layer off, doing yoga and all these things are just entertainment and show business, right? So if you want to be a proper yogi, you need to keep your whole ego outside. That's what Buddha did. He kept all the egos inside the palace and then went to the Niranjana river, and even he cut his hair and everything, took the rope and went down to a tree and start meditating and eating leaves and roots and everything, right? Only a person who did that can attain this. Otherwise, don't think of mastering your mind if you are so cling to your physical things. Right? For some people, if you say, I'm going to take your phone, that bugger will die through a heart attack because it's that attached to that. Right? So first of all these yogis, any picture, if you see these yogis, they are almost like naked because they don't care. They don't have an identity. They don't have an ego to worry about. They don't worry about any of those things. Even somebody come and cut your hand, still they will walk. Right? At the point, if somebody really come and point and show, only they realize, oh yeah, the hand is cut. And there are true stories like that in Ramakrishna's life. Yeah, there are. Right? So number one is, if you are thinking, okay, so I need a good place like Sri Lanka with nice environment and everything. So let's do a vacation for a yoga retreat and let's meditate. Right? There itself, you have lost it. Right? First of all, learn to keep your back on the floor. Right? Go to the town, and if you feel like you're tired, just try sitting on the pavement just for a second. Sit on the pavement. Right? The whole world you will see in a different angle. The whole world will be different to you. The town that you live in will look totally different because even in that eyesight angle, you haven't seen the town. Always you see the town like this. Right? You never saw the town like this. Right? So these are important things. These are simple practices, but unless you do these things, all these other things are like entertainment, right? So first of all, with the material things, learn to let it go. Then it gives a nice lesson, even a lot of calmness to your mind to think very openly, right? Otherwise, that's going to be a big disaster, huge disaster, right? So that's where this Patanjali says, so these are the couple of knowledges, right? So I'll just send a picture of these 7 things, right? And also Patanjali says the 7 states of wisdom, interpreted as right desire, right reflection, disappearance of the memory and mind, experience, pure sattva or the truth, indifference to praise or blame. If somebody come and blame you, if somebody come and praise you, no problem. This is what I have shared in the early days of Path of Dharma group. This yasa, ayasa, ninda, prasansa. This in Buddhism there is something called Ashtaloka Dharma. There are 8 dharmas in the world. When it hits you, you will be shaken. When somebody scolds you, you will be shaken. When somebody praise you, you will be very up. Right? When you have money, you feel good. When you don't have money, you feel like nothing. We feel poor, mentally down, right? Yeah, therefore I can't remember, right? So these things you need to overcome, right? So you need to understand the body within and without, right? Understand the energy and its uses, understand the mind, understand the will, awareness of the experience, right? Be consistent in your will. You can't climb Sripada if you are not consistent with your will. Done. You have to come back. Right? If you are not consistent with your will, you cannot climb Sripada, which is like the longest hike in Sri Lanka, right? And so much of obstacles to everything, which is amazing, beautiful, right? You can't go there if you don't have the will, right? And awareness of experience. Whatever you are experiencing right now, you need to be aware. So right now, if all of you are here, you are experiencing the dark, maybe wind or no wind, the sweating, ears are hearing something some man is talking about, and where you are sitting, how does it feel to your back, how does it feel to your body, right? All these, so basically living in this moment. Don't just sit somewhere and think of a better chair. Experience this moment. No point, otherwise you are just exhausting the mind, right? Then awareness of pure sentiment and beauty, understanding the individual soul, Jivatman, is a particle of the universal spirit. We are part of the universal spirit. So we are just a tiny part of the universal spirit, but we have put a big ego, bigger than the universe, on it. Right? And then identified yourself with so many things. To be very honest, even in your career, you don't have to do one particular job and be specialized in one thing. If you feel like tomorrow I want to explore a new career, you should explore a new career. Then after that, you feel like, no, I need to go back to that. You just go back to that. Nobody is going to blame you or judge you or anything. This blaming, judging, all these things are just nonsense which is in our head. Right? When somebody come and criticize you, you are the one who take whatever that person is talking as a criticism. Right? You can also take it as appraisal, or you can take it as nothing. Don't take it at all. That's the easiest thing. Right? So that's what, so this is it's a very detached life Patanjali is actually explaining. Right? All the religions or the spiritual scriptures are explaining the same thing. Right? No, so I'll just repeat again, knowing that which has to be known, discarding which has to be discarded, attaining what has to be attained, doing what has to be done, winning the goal that is to be won, freeing the intelligence from the pull of 3 gunas. 3 gunas kills, right? Then achieving emancipation of the soul so that it shines in its own light. It shines in its own light. Take an example, a lamp, right? The lamp doesn't shine through something else's light. The lamp shines through its own light, right? So us also, we can be really happy by ourselves only. With your mind, so we all know how to suffer with our mind. So right now, so many things are happening, right? If you switch on radio, whatever you want to hear, it's there. If you switch on this cable TV, right? Whatever you want to see, it's there. Right? So just like that, even if your mind, if you want a factor to be worried, if I ask you to take some factor to be worried, immediately you can take some factor. It can be associated with your children, it can be associated with your spouse, your relatives, your parents, or house, or something, at least something you will see, that house, or maybe your neighbor's house. Looking at the neighbor's house roof, you can worry. That looks ugly. What is your problem now? Right? At something, if I tell you, worry, tell me why you worried, you have a reason. You might not tell, but you have a reason. Agreed? Yeah. But if I ask you to be happy right now, that is not an easy task to do. Right? So think about something to be happy. So you're like, yeah, I'm so happy about this one. But this happened later to this person who thought that would happen. Immediately the happiness comes and then immediately it goes down. Keeping the happiness in a constant is not easy. So keeping the happiness in a constant is like the light or the bulb shine in its own light. That's an inside job, right? Fully an inside. So you have to tame your mind to basically, not worry about things you should not worry. Do whatever you are supposed to do. Don't think about doing it, right? Do whatever you're supposed to do. Stop. Done, right? And discard whatever you're supposed to discard, right? There is a bad memory that happened, done. Put a full stop, right? Only you will waste your energy. Only that will happen through thinking about it over and over and over and over again, right? Something bad need to happen in our life to learn it. Really bad need to come and hit your head in a way that, for a month or two, you have no idea what to do. The people around you should leave you, right? They should come and say, don't talk to us about this anymore. We have told you. That's how people say, we told you this will happen, but you did this, you never listened to us and all this. So those people are also lost. You should come to a level that, you're like properly lost. Then only the spiritual knowledge start to understand. Right? Otherwise, when you have all the luxuries and all, this is just another class that you go. Yeah, so then when you talk with other people, you say, yeah, so I go to like yoga for like 3 hours a week and it feels like very good, very calming and all. You have not understood what you're talking. Right? So something need to come and hit your head. Then people, they actually realize whatever we have been doing hasn't worked for us. There has to be something different. Why we get upset when something like this happens? Why can't I make my mind? Why am I crying? Why am I crying? Why can't I eat? When your mind is not in one place, you can't eat, can't sleep, you can't balance even in a yoga asana. Why can't I do this? So only medicine is you need to purify your mind. These 7 steps, 7 things you should input your mind and you should throw out from your mind are the most important things, right? So we learned 2 sutras today, right? So related to this 27th sutra, the 7 things, right? I will send it to you. But if you want, I will talk about this in the next class as well, because it's really important, right? So the next sutra, what we are going to do, so we are actually, now we are starting the Raja Yoga. So by dedicated practice of various aspects of yoga, impurities are destroyed. The crown of wisdom radiates in glory. Impurities of what? Impurities of everything. Impurities of what you talk. Impurities of what you are talking, destroying that is much easier. I can tell you, don't use the F word from tomorrow. How much you get mad, don't use that word, right? Or I can say, don't use this particular phrase. Don't say go to hell, right? Don't say go to hell. Then if you practice that, yeah, you can actually avoid saying go to hell. I'm pretty sure you all must have, in our childhood, we had certain vocabulary. When somebody came to us and said, don't say this, this is not good. Then we actually came out of that vocabulary. It's a different vocabulary. Now we are talking Queen's English, right? So that is our vocabulary right now. Okay. So taking out the impurities of your word is easier, right? Taking out the impurities of the things that you do is also easier. Harder, easier. Can do, right? If I ask you how many mosquitoes you killed within this time, zero mosquitoes killed. Good. If I ask you how many mosquitoes you killed, very good. Within the day, zero. Here and there, when the mosquito came, so suddenly the hand went and just killed it. I didn't do it, my hand did it, right? So that action happens because it's tamed like that. So I have seen even gurus, so they teach yoga, right? While they're teaching yoga, they're like, they do that, right? Why? Because these actions are not basically, you are not aware in your present moment. At least be aware in front of your students. At least be an example to the student. Even in front, at least in front of the students, don't kill the mosquito. Let it eat you. It's okay, right? Bear it. And after the class, you take a hammer and just hit. That's what people do, right? So these actions, lot of actions, these impure actions you are doing without your knowledge. Why? Because you have tuned yourself to do it. It has become a habit. When one dog comes, you feel like, oh, that is a nice dog. I love this dog. And so I also had this problem, right? When the other dog comes, because I don't like the dog, suddenly this thing comes up. Suddenly something comes to my hand to throw it, right? So that is not good. Suddenly, let's say from the roof, if a worm or something lands on your book, what happens? Suddenly, book will fly, right? To a destination that you can't even reach. But first of all, the book will fly because of these habits. So on the same way, using certain words, right? Normally what happens is when an incident happens, words automatically just go out. Haven't you noticed that? Words just go out. Then only you have to go after that person and say, sorry, I didn't mean it. Don't take it personally. I won't do it again. Husband and wife situations mostly, right? First the words just get thrown out. Then you go and we all have done it, right? Then you go and say sorry. That's why the sorry word in marriages are extremely important. That is your life savior. I don't worry to say sorry. Right? Why? Because words get out without your knowledge. On the same way, my driving example, right? While you are driving, somebody cut in front of you, right? Words, thoughts, actions, all three come in one time, and then after some time, you say, I didn't know what happened to me at that time. I didn't know how I reacted like that, right? So even right now, there are certain things happening outside. So when something is happening, people just run there and just finish it, right? And then after 1 month or 2 months, when they think, I don't know from where I got that energy to do that. I don't know from where, when I saw that person, I don't know from where I got that energy to blame that person in such a language, right? Have you noticed this? Don't be shy, just say yes, right? So this has happened to all of us, right? So these impurities, so now as theory we can learn, okay, stay away from the impurities of your action, mouth, And so we only talk about action and mouth. Now the big one is the mind. Now, how to clean the impurities. So if you know what I am thinking right now, and if I know what you are thinking right now, we are not sitting together and doing a session here, right? That much of things running in your head, in my head, your head, right? So that's why they say, when even Buddha, when he was attaining the Buddhahood, this Tanha, Rati, Raga, the three daughters of Mara came and danced in front of him without clothes and all. What it means is not that three women came and danced in front of him, right? What it says is his mind was shaking, right? His mind got some tanha, his mind got some dvesha and everything. So he basically was not affected by it, and he went beyond that, right? To a level where it doesn't affect him at all anymore, right? So that taming the mind is not easy. We can talk nice words. That's what I said. We can talk nice words. So normally when we dress nice, we behave nicer, right? When you normally wear a short, there is a way that you behave. When you wear long slacks, there is a way that you behave. When a lady wears a sari, there is a way that the person even walks. The walking is also different, right? When she wears the kitchen clothes, that's a different this thing, right? So, I mean, kitchen, that is a master. Then if somebody come and say something to you in the kitchen, yeah, either the butter or the knife or some rolling pin or something will come and take care of that situation, right? So that's how you manage that territory, right? So basically, so those things are take place without your knowledge. It just happens, right? So that's where it says, 28th Sutra says, you need to take care of these impurities, right? These impurities has to be destroyed through yoga, right? And then only the light of glory will radiate inside of yourself, right? So this is correct. There are people who have done this, right? There are people, but also the nice thing is how many people are in this world and how many have done this. And those people who have done this, we go after as religious leaders or spiritual leaders. Very minimum number of people who has done it. So you must, I mean, you should change, we should change our habits little by little to go here, right? Okay, so we will stop the discussion from here. Otherwise, I can talk till like 10, 11, no problem. But then inside your mind, you will be like, what is this guy thinking? He thinks that we don't have a life, right? Talking about impurities, and that impurity is coming inside and cursing the person in front of you, right? That happens. That's okay. So next week, we will be talking about these 7, 8 things about yoga. So we are going to go into detail about what is yama, what is niyama. Then we will learn why we learn asana, right? So all what we have learned through the Hatha Yoga Asana class, I am actually going to give you a total different perspective here. Not my own perspective, but I am actually trying to bring certain commentaries and all. There are beautiful ways of how they have explained why you should do an asana. Things are like certain things, when you hear, you have never even thought, this is why we should do an asana, right? And then pranayama. Why should we do pranayama? These are all methods of purification. Yama, niyama. These are methods of purifying your action. Things that you should do, things you should avoid doing. Then asana. How to purify your body, physical body. How to purify the physical body. Pranayama. How to purify the breath or prana vayu inside you. Right? Then pratyahara. Right? Let go of things. Don't be greedy to things. If somebody don't give you anything, that's fine. right? Learn to live free, that is pratyahara. Then dharana, let's go inside the mind and build it. Dhyana, be in one place. Samadhi, be in a place where you are happy like forever, right? So these are the 7 steps which Patanjali is explaining, right? So we were learning this asana and pranayama through classes, right? But yama niyama, someone can teach you, but practicing is up to us, right? So so it's like, remember the picture I shared. So the dog itself is holding the leash and walking, right? So don't become a dog where somebody else is holding the leash and say, okay, go to this side, go to that side, do this. No, you need to hold your own leash and walk in the right path, right? So that's what we will be discussing in the next class. So we will finish here, but please ask any questions soon after we finish, right? Great. So keep the hands in Anjali Mudra. Slowly close your eyes. Stay in full silence for a couple of seconds. Deep inhale. Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Slowly rub your palms, keep the hands on the face. Deep inhale, exhale.